there were like in the beginning, there were maybe 4 pastas on the menu. So it was like 2 and 2 dishes. So like 2 dishes to worry about. But we had a pasta team of people that would make pasta in the mornings for you.
Okay.
And so you'd write on the prep list or the request list, like, hey, I need 300 tortelli. I need 200 agnolotti. I need 80 orders of tag. And some days they would finish it all, and some days they wouldn't. And the days that they wouldn't, you were still responsible for having those orders.
Yeah.
So once again, you come in early because you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Right.
Lay in bed.
You're like, nope.
You're like, well, up at 6 a.m., anxiety, like, am I going to have my mise en place for tonight?
Yeah, this is 12 hours from now, right? Yep. 6 a.m., 6 o'clock service. It's crazy how much that shit affects you.
And so I would come in early, and the whole pasta team only spoke Spanish. They didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Spanish. But I did enough, and they spoke enough English to where pasta became the language for us.
Yeah,
so I would hang out with them in the morning and spend the first couple hours of my day helping them make the pasta to make sure I had my pasta for that night. But at the same time learning, we'd try to ask questions. How does this dough look? Is it right? And, mojado, seco. Is it dry? Is it wet? And like just little things that, I was learning about pasta from people who didn't speak English, and pasta was that language.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And so Tusk would occasionally, spend time teaching pasta to us. Most rememberably, or I guess significantly, was the tortellini.
Yeah.
So he had just come back from Italy. I guess this is fast forward now. So I learned pasta. I'm on the pasta station. I'm in it to win.
Yeah.
Now it's like every day. I want pasta. I want to make it. I need to make sure my station's set. I have all the stuff I need. I have the tools, and I'm just pushing to get every day better and learn more. And then he comes back from trip to Italy, where he spent time in Bologna at the laboratories of pasta, where, the nonas, the grandmas, the women, all in like the pink garbs, just spend all day making tortellini, all by hand. Fatto A Mano. And so he comes back and he's like, we're going to do this here.
Yeah.
And we have pasta machines. We have stand mixers. And he's like, nope, we're going to do it like they did there, the way I learned it. No machines, only a rolling pin. I brought some mozzarella back, big wooden rolling pins, and I'm going to teach you how to do it all by hand. And so we have to knead the dough by hand. We have to sheet the dough by hand. I learned how to roll big sfolias, which was a huge learning curve in itself.
Yeah.
And then that became the only dish on my station was tortellini. And it was tortellini and like buttercream with Parmesan and truffle.
Because that's how long it would take to make these tortellinis.
It was I remember still specifically, it was 18 pieces per order. We did about 80 orders a night.
Jesus, man.
And I couldn't use a machine. And so that then became my new stressor.
Yeah.
My new anxiety.
Exactly.
My new obsession.
Yeah.
To then where I would come in every day. I would immediately get my pasta board. I'd carry the big wooden table out to the dining room. I would set it up. I'd have all my dough balls already made from the day before. Roll out the dough and just stand there cranking on tortellini.
Yeah.
Come back into the kitchen around 4:30. Blend my fondue, my cheese sauce.
Yeah.
And be ready for service. And I make that sound very simple, easy. But the stress level of making sure you have enough tortellini has never been higher. There were nights where I would be looking into my lowboy, looking at the clock, looking at the ICO, like how many covers are left to go.
Yeah.
And counting down the individual pieces. Like, chef,
am I going to make it?
I have exactly enough orders. You sure no one else is coming to?
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, we need to make more pasta right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, there were just moments like that just crazy.
Yeah.
And because we were cooking at such a high level, that is not something you ever run out of. It's not like the scallops.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, sorry, we're out tonight. People are coming from all over the world. These are all special occasion dinners. These are all a big deal. And every single diner needs to have it as if this is the only time in their life they're ever going to eat here.
Yeah.
There's no second chances.
Heard that.
And so that tortellini became everything for me. And that was something I learned directly from Tusk.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Wow. The tortellini. Do you still make it to this day?
I still make it to this day. I make it the same exact way. I went as far, I have 2 tattoos. My only other tattoo is Fatto A Mano I have on my arm.
Yeah.
From rolling out. Making dough
so
every
many.
single day.
That's so many.
It had to have been at least 8 months straight that was on the menu.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I did.
I remember that anticipation when you're like asking your chef, you're like, all right, how many per order? Please say 6.
How many per order?
Please say 6.
Then there would be the nights
18.
where VIPs would come in at Catonia next door, and the restaurants are connected in the back.
Yeah.
So it's like you walk right to the other one. House would come over and be like, oh, fire, 8 orders of tortellini. I have some VIPs next door, and pull out one of these giant copper serving dishes, and it's like, just fill it up.
Oh.
And you just, your head sinks. You're like, okay. The one day you thought you were maybe ahead, and you don't have as many to make tomorrow. Nope. Never ahead. Always behind.
It's the pasta cook lesson everywhere. Whenever you think you have enough, just make more.
Just
make more, bro.
Yep.
Don't do that.
They'll get sold.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Go bad.
So, after, how long were you on this pasta?
I was there the whole time.
Until you left.
Until I left. So I started as one of the pasta cooks.
Yeah.
I got promoted to sous chef. And the way that kitchen was run, the brigade we had at that time, every station had its own sous chef.
Heard that.
So there's a meat sous chef, a fish sous chef, a garmsay sous chef, pastry sous chef, pasta sous chef, and canapé sous chef.
Okay.
Plus the executive sous chef and the chef de cuisine.
Fuck yes.
So we had a lot of chefs. There was hands everywhere.
Yeah.
It was
eyes and hands everywhere.
Eyes and hands everywhere.
Nowhere to hide.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was a pasta sous chef. So that became my world.
Okay.
I would oversee the dishes. I was at one point, which was another kind of turning point, I guess, in my career and very meaningful to me, was the first time I was able to put a dish on the menu at Quince. And up until that point, even like the chef de cuisine, Johnny, was like, no one's been able to do pasta. I'm so glad to have you. Tusk is the only one that puts pastas on the menu.
Yeah.
Because he won't let anyone else. And I remember the night he was like, okay, yeah, we can put this on the menu. And I was like, whoa.
You're like, whoa.
One of my dishes.
You've been knighted.
You get knighted.
Yeah.
You get knighted. Speaking of being knighted, cooking risotto is a knighted, ordained process at Quince.
Okay. Yeah. They did it for 12 days. And
I'm sure he had a specific risotto cook.
He had a guy. Yeah.
A guy that's the only one allowed to touch risotto.
Okay. So how does risotto work in that restaurant?
So risotto is always cooked to order.
Uh-huh.
Never blanched or par cooked.
Yep.
And it's a supplemental course. So you don't know if you're going to sell it or when you're going to sell it. But you get ordered in.
Yep. And
it's normally something, at the time, there's maybe 3 people in the restaurant that were allowed to cook it. There was like the pasta cook who's with me, like ahead of me. I guess had been there longer.
Yeah.
She's the one who taught me with Tusk. There's Tusk, and then maybe one of the sous chefs was allowed to cook. And so anytime that order came in, you had to then time when to start it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was done 8 courses into the meal.
Yeah. Perfectly on time.
And the risotto didn't wait.
No,
once it starts, it's 13 minutes plus or minus 2 minutes, and it has to go. If the guest is up from the table, it's like a bomb went off.
Fuck, yeah.
Like the end of the world.
Yeah.
Where is the guest?
That's the worst.
Why are they in the bathroom?
When you finish it and you're like, it's perfect. They're up and you're like, ah!
Right. Freak out. But you learn this whole process, and he was so specific about the way the rice had to be toasted, the way the onions had to be cut, the way that you deglazed the pan, the way that you added stock, the temperature, the type of pan you used. You're only allowed to use certain pans that we had in the restaurant, pots. You can only use a certain spoon. Like, so many rules. You couldn't break. Otherwise, you were done.
Yeah.
Toast. Like, don't even try.
Yeah.
And so you have your timers, and some nights you'd have like 8 orders of risotto going. You have the whole side of your flat top.
8 different pots.
8 different pots. You have little pieces of tape on each one. Table 32, 4 orders. Table 82, 6, like all the orders. And then that's not all you're cooking. You still have your other 2 pasta dishes you're plating for every diner.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a lot of things going on. You can only imagine then the stress level. And then Tusk is standing there because he hung out by the pasta station.
Yeah.
And that was his baby.
Just looking at you.
Just standing there covered. And if you don't know, like, Chef Tusk, he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Posing, big, broad shoulders.
For sure.
Like, he's not, he's intimidating.
Yeah, you can feel the fucking burning.
You can feel the glare.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, like, he's watching your every move.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to disappoint.
No.
You don't want
to
upset. You don't want to do anything wrong. You want it to be perfect because that's what you're striving for is perfection. And so that was risotto, which was a whole nother thing. Then I learned there that influenced everything I did. But I guess kind of then shifting out of Quince and what I was doing there, risotto's a good segue into learning another philosophy and mindset on things.
Yeah.
So Quince was my one exposure. I was there for 3 years. We went from 1 to 3 stars. It was huge. Like we were peaking. Like this was awesome. And I remember Mark Vetri came and did his cookbook dinner with us.
Yep.
And he was going to do a risotto on the menu.
Huh.
And Tusk was like, oh, okay, Joe's your guy. He's going to cook risotto with you. He'll cook your risotto, show him how you want it, and he'll cook your risotto all night long. I was so excited. Mark Vetri.
Yeah.
Like, heck yeah, let's do this. I start cooking the risotto. I'm doing it Tusk's way, and he like comes over. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? Stop. Don't do that. That's not how you do it. And like my mind like almost imploded because I thought this was the way. And so Vetri like goes on to explain to me, you know, we're using this special Carnaroli Aquarello rice.
Uh-huh.
It's made and grown and produced in a way that it could stand up to being not cooked the whole time. You don't have to stir it the whole time. You could stop and start it. You could just set it off to the side on the stove and forget about it for 20 minutes and come back to it, and it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And one thing we had to do in Tusk's version was taste the rice throughout the cooking from the beginning. So you're eating raw rice.
Yeah.
But it's how you learn by eyesight. You see it looks one way, you taste it, you kind of remember that memory.
Mm-hmm.
You see the way it looks 5 minutes into it, you taste it, you have that memory. So then you like know what crunchy rice looks like. You know what less crunchy rice looks like. I tried to do that with Vetri, and he's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why would you want to eat raw rice? That's not done. Like, he wouldn't let me taste it until it was done. And he was like, you got to listen to the rice. The rice is talking to you. Just listen to it. Just look at it. It'll tell you when it's done. Don't taste it. Who wants to sit here and eat raw rice all night? What the hell is wrong with you? And I was just so laid back and nonchalant about the whole process. And I just like remember seeing Tusk out of the corner of my eye, like pacing back and forth, like because it wasn't being done his way. But you know, he's not going to say anything. No. Vetri's dinner. This is how Vetri, this is how Vetri wants to cook it. And so it was just that was another kind of like very memorable turning point moment. I was like, okay, there are other ways to do things.
Yeah,
and this isn't the only way. Mm-hmm. And neither one is necessarily the right way. They're just two different ways. And so that kind of then was a very memorable, impactful experience being exposed to that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I need to get out of here and learn more. You know, 3 years is a long time. There were a lot of changes happening at that time. We were losing our CDC. Our executive sous chef was taking his position. I think another sous chef was leaving. And we had to do... This was crazy. We had to do all the sous chefs, even if you didn't want the position. Tusk, it was kind of a good, I guess, learning experience. You had to do a full tasting menu for him, his wife, Lindsay, and the general manager, as if you were applying for that executive sous chef position.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was like 3 or 4 canapes, a cold fish, a hot fish, a caviar course, 2 pasta courses, a meat, and you could do dessert if you wanted. And they just wanted to see, I guess, what everyone had.
See what you can do.
What you could do. And it wasn't like they gave you time to do this. It was like you maybe come in on your day off. Yeah. Prep in the 2 minutes you have, like, in between everything else going on. But that was insane. And, like, but really fun now that I look back on it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad they made us do that because then it, like, pushes you to just be creative, to come up with dishes, to kind of do something and step outside of comfort zone, which is important as a cook, as a chef. To not fall into the routine of every day. Don't be comfortable. It made us very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it was at that time I did really well in the tasting, and Tusk asked if I wanted to be the executive sous chef as I was leaving to then be the executive sous chef at Lazybear. So it was kind of a bittersweet.
Got you. So
unfortunate moment where I was kind of letting him down, but at the same time, I was ready to move on.
Yeah. Now, where did Lazybear come into the radar?
So Lazybear is was a newer restaurant in San Francisco.
Yeah.